Welcome back to Badass Women 50 Plus. I am Robin Lane, 88 years of age, psychotherapist, creator, and producer of this show, and my co-host, the young and beautiful Maria Secor, is off making a movie. As you know, the women that we showcase are those who have overcome significant challenges, and as what woman hasn't, so maybe you could be a guest on our show, and they have gone on to be victorious. Today, instead of one guest, I will be interviewing two, and each and completely separately as they are in unrelated fields. However, the commonality is that each took the road less traveled in midlife, and both are at work creating their own artistic style, one in the field of photography and the other as a stand-up comic. They also share a passion for the truth. So I'm going to shut up now and introduce our guest, the extraordinary photographer, Angelika Buettner. Welcome, Angelika Buettner. It's a pleasure to see you.
It's a pleasure to be with you, Robin.
I'm going to cut to the chase because we have lots of photographs that we want to look at.
Okay.
You're an extremely successful photographer. You started out in Germany at 23.
Yes.
You have amazing clients. You had L'Oreal, Maybelline, Swarovski, right? Walford. I mean, I use all of them. Maybelline now. And then you did some wonderful work with young people. So how did you start out?
Well, I started out in Germany after my studies. I started working for myself as a freelancer already at 23 because I think probably I'm a very independent spirit. And I started with my own studio and got jobs pretty fast. I think it was amazing. So I started in Frankfurt, which was more in the advertising business. And besides that, I worked on my book, and I worked a lot with young models for testing, and I was collaborating.
And how did you get the young models to do tests?
Well, they're all in model agencies. So, and we collaborate with model agencies, and I worked a lot with stylists and makeup artists and hairdressers who were all a creative team. So, and we were all close together. So we started working on fashion and on beauty and a lot of creative artwork as well. At that time, I did a lot of body painting work. And even with that work, we got covers for a German magazine, for Stern magazine, which is pretty popular. And we did, amazing work already.
Let's take a look at this little video that we have of those early days.
Lost in love. Went out walking and got lost in love. Now I never want to find the path that might take us back. Lost in love, letting every footstep lead us on, knowing somewhere there among the trees we'll make memories. Lost in love. I'll make a wish by a woodland stream and set it drifting to the sea.
Okay, we're back. And so you did these beautiful young people, and you're very successful. And then you, somewhere along the line, and that's one of the reasons we're here today, you do this marvelous book, Later in Life, called the I_am book.
Yeah.
And you have a change of perspective. So how did that come about? Hold on a second, because I remember you telling me this story, that you were photographing for companies that were advertising for people that were in their 50s and 60s, and you were using 30-year-old models, and on top of that, you had to have them touched up.
Exactly.
So is that part of what changed your perspective?
Yes, because I was really missing on the real women and mature women, if we want to use that word, which were like over 50, over 40, over 50, over 60. And I think the only image like those women were used to was like the grandmother image, without being anything wrong being a grandmother, but we can't be reduced to that. So
Well, you changed that. You changed that.
so,
Let's take a look at the little video that Karen, the beautiful, fabulous Karen Williams, did.
yes.
That introduces your book and some of your wonderful models.
When I say I am to you, what do you think?
Hard to believe.
I mean, I always say I'd like to take the fear out of aging. You don't reach a certain age and you don't dwindle down.
Who defines beauty? What beauty means to you and what that means to me will be completely different.
I feel a sense of responsibility that when I go outside, people ask me, what are you dressed up for? I say life. I am dressed up for my life.
If you had come to interview me in my 40s, I would not be as whole as I am today.
It always starts with looking where it comes from, what values have been imposed on you, and what would it mean to challenge those beliefs.
After he died, I had to figure out, like, who am I? Because I wasn't that person anymore.
So I'll turn 60 next year, and I'm proud of every year on Earth, but I do see that that people are still quiet about their age.
In my mind, I feel like I can do anything, you know? And then you go out there and your body says, no, you can't, not anymore, you know? But I don't think that'll stop me. I just have to adapt.
We have different battles. Women's is finding our voice, finding our power, not through the structure that we've been conditioned to have. And men's healing is to allow that. Women are so powerful and so complex and so amazing and beautiful.
I don't care about these wrinkles. I don't care about this. You know, it doesn't matter. It's the life in me, the pleasure, the joy that I find in life and the people around me. And there's so much to learn.
Every period of your life, there's a different kind of beauty.
There were, ideals, right? There still are ideals. Like, you're supposed to look photoshopped. And I like this idea as we get older, we don't have to start falling apart.
I never let my hair grow gray. I like bingo, mahjong, like Scrabble.
Could you imagine what it would be like to grow old if you weren't looking at your reflection?
I'm still developing this relationship with my new body. So being able to be nude and have it photographed like it matters felt freeing. And it's not something that I have to hide, that I have scars. This is a woman's body still.
I'm just lucky that I'm still alive.
It actually does sometimes get even better.
Tell me about Casey. Let's look at that photograph. I want to tell you something personal. I love it not just because of the aesthetic, her magnificent pose, but I love the text that you have. And you have many things that describe what a woman is. But the thing that I personally relate to is the parts that say, I am bossy, I am opinionated, and I am unapologetic. And I love that somebody has that in a text and acknowledges it. What made you pick the text to put behind that form?
Well, first of all, I like to combine the picture with text, and then I pick the words who spoke the most to me. So it's very personalized. And then for the book, we did the opening pages, the inside cover with, I think, 200, 300, 400 I ams. And there's a very important sentence which I like to read, which is also in my book, which says, I am two of the most powerful words. For that, what we put behind them shapes your reality. And this was Wayne Dyer who said that. And I always loved that. So I had to put it in the book. So I think I am. And then if you ask people, what's your I am, it's very interesting.
Me, I am lucky. But let me tell you, there's another picture that I don't relate to at all. And that's the group picture. You've got 4 nude women embracing one another. There is no way in God's green earth that at any point in my time, in my life, no matter how young, that I would have ever had a picture like that. And one of those women is transgender, correct?
Yes.
So you want to tell us about that photograph? How did that come into be?
Actually, there was one of my friends, she said, I'm going to get a group together and of my horse riding friends. So we did that and we shot them all individually. Everybody's individually in the book with their testimonial and their text. And then somehow in the end, I think there was such a great vibe. And then we said, okay, let's do a shot all together because it wasn't planned, but this is the things which come up and you just have to stay open and just see the evolution. And they were so great together. And I'm pretty sure that they haven't even been sitting beside each other in a bathing suit.
And the tall woman is transgender, right?
Yeah, one of them is, well, I don't know in size-wise, but if you don't see it, well, it's even better.
She's on the end. It's very interesting, yeah.
She had her coming out with 63.
At 63?
Yes, because she didn't dare to do it before, and she only did it when her father died, who was, I think, Greek or who was very religious, whatever. She didn't dare to do it. And when the father died, she came out to her mom, and she did the full transformation. And she looks beautiful.
She looks beautiful, yes.
She was so proud.
Yes, she does. She looks beautiful.
And to be in her body, I think it was really present to her to do that photo session. So this is really enriching as well, where you give a lot to the person you photograph. And and I wanted as well that every woman likes her picture, likes herself, and likes.
And what's interesting too is that in these photographs, you don't use any lighting, nothing, and makeup. It's all natural, right?
It's all natural makeup. If somebody asks me, "Do you want me to put red lipstick on?" I say, "If you like yourself like this, do it with a nude body, or just put nothing. Just stay pure." And so everybody did his own makeup. So I think that's fine. Just a little bit touch-ups or so. And I didn't retouch the pictures, which is very important.
You didn't retouch the pictures?
I didn't retouch the pictures, not the bodies, not the faces. I just gave them an artistic mood. So turn them in black and white or special colors or whatever. So
well, I'm never posing for any picture that can't be retouched. So let's take a look at the women that you photographed from 60 to what? 199. Let's take a look at those photographs. You want to tell us about these women pretty quickly as we go through the photographs? We'll go into the video now.
Yeah, Barbara came visiting to the United States. She visited her daughter, which I didn't photograph, but her daughter arranged for her mother to be photographed by me, and she really liked it. So she's an amazing woman. I think she was in her 80s. And she was very cool with all her scars. I think she had a lot of surgeries. She had the mastectomy. And, well, she never did the, how do you call that, building up the...
Reconstruction.
She never did reconstruction. And so, no, she was an amazing woman. I really loved her.
So there's a very touching story of one of the young women that you photographed. I think she was in her 40s or 50s, something like that. To me, that's a young woman.
Yes.
And Chiara. And Chiara had a double mastectomy. And she was willing to pose for you for so many photographs. Yes. And we even have this short little video of her. But she passed away, am I correct?
Yes, she did.
Yes. Do you want to tell us about her?
Yes, absolutely. I met her through one of the other women I photographed through the Silver Women, and I met Kira. I was really impressed because she is really like the cancer spokesperson, and she had a huge followingship on Instagram. And her page was called "The Beauty Through the Beast," which says it already. So, and she was really a fighter. She was amazing. And she said also, if I have cancer, I do it with style. So she had photo shoots, and she was really, going nude and showing as well that a woman without boobs can be a sensual person and is not losing her womanship.
We're going to say goodbye.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Our audience doesn't know that we're filming you. Where are you in France?
I'm in the southwest of France, close to the Pyrenees, actually.
Where they've got some really good food.
It's excellent. It's a lot organic. It's very, very healthy environment. Yes, yeah.
Don't tell me that you're in France eating tofu.
No.
I hope not.
No,
thank you so much, Angelika Buettner, and we will put up your book and where people can buy it.
Okay, thank you so much, Robin, for having me. I really enjoy and I love your program, what you're doing, the Badass Woman 50 plus. It's amazing.
All right, I don't want our audience to go away yet because we're coming up with a comedian. That is next, is our stand-up comic. Welcome, Felicia Madison. Okay, we're going to have no time for chit-chat. We're going to cut to the chase. I want you to tell me how, at the age of 50, you decided to become a stand-up comic.
Well, I was always looking for something to do and never did it. And then someone asked me, why do I think stand-up stuck? And it occurred to me, with stand-up, you don't need a business plan or a partner or money. All you need is yourself and a lot of guts.
Okay, let's go to one of your stand-up routines.
Yeah, I was born Felicia Joy Madison, and I got married, and the joy left my life. I became Felicia Madison Levy. Don't really like Levy. I particularly hate that people are always asking me how to spell it. They're like, is it an I or a Y? I'm like, really? It's a Y. Jewy. So I studied hard, I went to a good college, and I succeeded the old-fashioned way. I married my boss. I didn't marry my boss. He wouldn't leave his wife. But don't judge. Back then, it wasn't sexual harassment. It was a weekly review. Just my luck, I'm finally in a career where I can just sleep my way to the top, and it's not allowed. But I'm happy this Me Too woman movement, now for my daughters, now they'll never find a husband. I did end up marrying a really rich, nice guy. But it was hard work. It took me 3 years to get him to propose to me. Yeah, and I had to be in my best behavior that entire time. Cooking, cleaning, swallowing. I'm kidding, I'm a nice Jewish girl. I don't clean.
I love your routine on dating apps, but it does get a little raunchy. So I want to ask you something. Have your kids seen your show?
My older kids have. My teenager has never seen me perform. And I just say that, as a teenager, your mother's always embarrassing, and this is just extra added embarrassment for her.
Let's show that part of your routine.
Any single guys in the audience? No? I have a 26-year-old daughter I'm trying to get rid of. No? She looks like me, she acts like me, and I can't stand her. She's on the dating apps. Anyone meet on a dating app here? Dating app? No? Dating app? No? No one admits it, but they're very successful. She's on Bumble, the one where she gets to pick the guy. And I'm like, she can't pick a melon. How is she gonna pick a guy? And then why are there no reviews? Like, there are reviews for everything. Okay, doctors, restaurants, Uber drivers get reviews, right? So I'm gonna institute reviews, and it's gonna be like, girls, when you purchase something online and you have to return it and you have to give a reason. So it's gonna be, I'm putting this man back into the pool. Reason, doesn't look like picture. Reason, arrived damaged. Reason, too small. And I decided after a while that it's just like they got it all wrong. I'm gonna create an app for you guys. I think we go back to the time that the mothers pick the... Yes? I mean, you have a picture, first of all, okay? Totally useless. You all look the same in the end, bald and fat, so, like, who cares? I'm gonna have, so you just list 3 things, okay? Your income, your height, and your real height. Yeah. You market products wrong, okay? Especially when it's for women. Like, for instance, there's something called a vibrator, right? They looked at it. What should we name this? It vibrates. Let's go with vibrator. I mean, could you think of like 20 things that would be more attractive than that? What would you name your vibrator? I would name mine Not My Husband.
Okay, you have another side, a serious side. And in your one-woman show, we have taken out excerpts in which you talk about your beloved father. And I don't want to say one single word about it because I want our audience to see it. So let's go to video.
This is my dad, Leon. He grew up in the Bronx when the Bronx was the Bronx. That's my mom. Her name's Joby. She grew up on the Lower East Side when the Lower East Side wasn't cool. One night in a dance hall in Manhattan, they met, and my dad swept my mom out of an unhappy childhood and swept her into an unhappy marriage. They got married, they struggled. My dad worked 7 days a week at back-breaking labor. Our wedding night was pretty close to perfection, because my in-laws paid for it. My favorite part was the father-daughter dance. It wasn't your typical dance, no. My dad led me across every inch of the dance floor, twirling and spinning me. I felt like Cinderella at the ball. And then, the grand finale, the big tip. He dropped me. We all had a big laugh at the time. What we didn't realize back then was that this was the beginning of my father's Parkinson's disease. One day, she dragged my father along with her to an art class. The teacher in the class noticed my dad sitting there very bored, and he handed him a hunk of clay. My dad took the clay and started molding his big, burly, greasy hands over the clay. He looked up at his wife, down at the clay. Up at his wife, down at the clay. He was so engulfed, he didn't notice the teacher and the class gathering around with their mouths opened. When he finally looked up and took his hands away, he too was amazed to see a perfect bust of his wife. Good story, right? Way to go, Dad! This began a lifelong passion for him. He began studying with artists. He went to visit museums and quarries to pick out stone. He won numerous awards and even appeared on the cover of the New York Times. Yes, the New York Times. Dear Diary, I am 49 and my dad is dying. I wish I had told him that I loved him more and that I was proud of him. My dad lay dying somewhere in the middle of New Jersey in a hospice facility. Yeah, I know, I'm a bad daughter who lets their father die in New Jersey.
violent, and we had to sedate him with morphine. He wasn't being violent. That's his normal behavior. And he's hungry. He hasn't eaten. He wants a muffin. Can we get him a muffin? Mrs. Levy, when you're in hospice and sedated on morphine, we are unable to feed the patients as we fear they can choke to death. You're fucking kidding me, right? You're starving him to death and you're worried he's gonna choke on a muffin? Get him a muffin! Get him a muffin now! He got the muffin. I grabbed his hand. The hand that was once so strong. The hand that heaved heavy machinery, tied my skates tight, and led me across the dance floor. These hands, for most of my life, were an embarrassment. I didn't see the greatness in them. All I saw were the tattoos on his arms, the grease put underneath his fingernails and ingrained in the creases of his skin. I leaned over and whispered in his ear, "You deserve better than this, Daddy. I'm sorry. I love you." That was the last time I saw my father.
Okay, Felicia, we're back and we're going to say goodbye. Anything you want to add?
That video is amazing. What an amazing story. Who is that? Oh, wait, that's me. Someone make a movie out of it, please.
Goodbye, Felicia. I cannot wait to get to New York and to go to, you're at the West Side Comedy Club?
Correct.
West Side Comedy Club to see Felicia Madison.
Thank you so much for having me.
Remember, we are on the last Tuesday of every month. So, see you next time.